Writing by hand, which many people call journaling, might seem like an old practice for such a fast-paced world, but it does something that nothing else can do in quite the same way. It forces your brain to take the mess inside your head and turn it into something you can actually see and understand. And there's a story that shows this perfectly. Eileen Gu is a freestyle skier who also studies at Stanford and works as a model. A rare combination, right? After winning a gold medal, a reporter asked her a question that made the room laugh. But when Eileen started explaining how her mind actually works, the laughter stopped, because no one expected what came next.
Do you think before you speak? Because you answer questions so quickly and so comprehensively. Can you take us into your brain?
Thank you, Charlotte. That's very kind. I think overall, I'm just a pensive person. Like, I'm an introspective young woman. Like, I spend a lot of time in my head, and it's not a bad place to be. I journal a lot. I break down all of my thought processes. I think I apply a very analytical lens to my own thinking, and I kind of modify it because it's so interesting. You can control what you think. Like, you can control how you think, and therefore you can control who you are. With neuroplasticity on my side, I can literally become exactly who I want to be. And so I guess for me, it's like, yes, I spend a lot of time in my own head. Yes, I think a lot. But it's not really like in an egotistical kind of way. It's in like a tinkering, like a scientist kind of way. I'm always like trying to modify. I'm trying to think, how can I be better? How can I approach my own brain the way that I approach my craft of free skiing, so that I can be better tomorrow than I was today?
She figured out that writing is how she learns about herself. And then she uses that understanding to get better. But here's why this matters for you. The same thing that helps an elite athlete perform under pressure can help anyone navigate a complicated week, a difficult decision, or a season of life that feels uncertain. Thoughts that felt overwhelming on the inside become manageable the moment they hit the paper. And science confirms that her approach works. Your brain changes based on what you repeatedly do with it. Every thought pattern you reinforce gets stronger over time. Every one you ignore gets weaker. This is happening right now, whether you're aware of it or not. Your habits, your reactions, the way you talk to yourself, all of this is literally shaping the physical structure of your brain, for better or worse. So the question remains, who is choosing these patterns? You or the autopilot? Most people never ask this question. They go through years running the same mental loops without ever stopping to look at them. Journaling interrupts this cycle. To translate a feeling into words, the brain needs to slow down. It needs to seek clarity. There's a reason this works. When you name what you're feeling, the brain automatically reduces the intensity of that emotion. The act of finding the right word forces your mind to process the feeling instead of just reacting to it. But naming emotions is just the first layer. There's something deeper happening on the page that almost nobody talks about. When you write, you're not just organizing thoughts. You're observing yourself thinking them. And that changes your relationship with what's going on inside. Psychologists call this metacognition, thinking about your own thinking. It's like becoming a spectator of your own mind. And this small space between feeling something and observing yourself feeling it gives you something precious, the chance to choose how to respond instead of just reacting. But there's a detail that makes a real difference. The choice between writing by hand and typing on a keyboard isn't a matter of preference. The medium you use changes how deeply your brain engages with what you're writing. In a world full of screens, the act of writing by hand activates a much wider brain network than typing on a keyboard. The movement of the hand, the touch of the pen on the paper, the slower pace of handwriting, All of this involves motor skills, language processing, sensory feedback, and memory systems. And there is more. Because writing by hand is slower than thinking, you are forced to stay present. You follow the pace of your own thoughts. In a time when everything happens too fast, this act of slowing down becomes almost an act of resistance. A reminder that not everything in your inner life needs to be solved on the run. Writing transforms the present. But what happens when a person starts writing about the future is also powerful. Journaling works in both directions of time. It helps process what has already happened and prepare for what is yet to come. When someone writes regularly about goals and challenges, these thoughts become more than passing wishes. The brain starts treating them as patterns that deserve attention and energy. The more they are repeated on paper, the stronger the neural connections associated with them become. You mentally rehearse a difficult conversation, an important decision, or a life change. You explore possibilities. You anticipate reactions. When the real moment arrives, the brain has already been through it. It already knows the terrain. This is why so many high-performing people use this practice every day. They are shaping how they think about life, which in turn influences their decision-making, relationships, and overall well-being. By doing this, they change who they are becoming as they develop new perspectives and habits that align with their goals and values. You might be hearing all of this and thinking it makes sense, but you have never been much of a writer. You might think it requires discipline, a perfect routine, a beautiful notebook, and a free hour in the day. A lot of people never start because they think there's a right way to do it. There isn't. Journaling can be whatever fits your day. It can be a list. It can be a single sentence. It can be 5 minutes before sleep, or 3 lines while the coffee cools down. You can write down 3 things you are grateful for, or just put everything on paper without a filter. Any format works. The simple act of translating a thought into words puts the brain into processing mode. And if you'd like some structure to start journaling, I created Here, Now, and Better, a 72-page intentional planner with reflection prompts, gratitude practices, and space for your goals. A quiet companion for the kind of life you're trying to build. The most important thing is to begin writing. Every time the pen touches the paper, the brain receives a message. The word matters. Pay attention. Over time, sentence by sentence, day after day, a simple exercise transforms into a powerful practice to live with more clarity, calmness, and intention. Journaling gives you back control over your own thoughts. When you control your thoughts, you truly begin to build the life you want to live.